What is going on, traders, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad to have you. On this channel, I go over key levels and catalysts that I'm focusing on, along with a watch list of stock tickers that I may trade. Now in today's video, I'm going to be going over my watch list for the trading week of October 17th, 2022. Let's get to it. Alright, first up, the catalyst. Earnings season continues with a few large caps like Netflix and Tesla reporting. On Tuesday, we're going to have the housing market index. On Wednesday, we're going to have the housing starts and building permits. On Thursday, we're going to get the existing home sales. Now, globally, on Monday, we're going to get China's Q3 GDP numbers. And on Wednesday, we're going to get UK's inflation data. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at this week's earnings calendar. Alright, so as earnings season continues, we have another full calendar this week, but the only tickers that I'm interested in will be Netflix and Tesla. And honestly, if the volatility is right, that's all we'll need. Now, ASML may also be in play because of the expanded restrictions on the exports to China. It's affecting the entire semiconductor sector, so AMD and Nvidia should also be considered as sympathy plays. With that, let's go ahead and get started with this week's watch list. Alright, so we're going to start off with the indexes. The first one up, the QQQ, and here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and remove these lines so we can get a good look at what the weekly candle looks like on the Qs. Expand this a little bit. Now this is either a poorly formed hammer or a poorly formed spinning top. Either way, you can see we sold off quite a bit. We got as low as around $255 before the buyer stepped in and pushed up the closing price to around $261. So if that strength continues, I wouldn't be surprised if we kept pushing up to the upside at the beginning of the week at least. Alright, so let's move down to the 1 hour chart and take a look at this week's levels. Now first off, the bullish scenario. Like I said, we're sitting around $261. For me to consider this bullish, the Qs has to get above $265. If it can get through that, the first level that I'm looking for at the test is around $270, $250. If it can get through that, up to $276. If it can get through that, all the way up to around $281. Now the bearish scenario, if it cannot get above $265, the first level that I'm looking for at the test is around $260. If it can't hold that, all the way down to around $255, okay? So keep these levels on your watch list and let's see what happens. Alright, up next is SPY, and here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart. Now I'm going to do that same thing, remove these lines so we can get a good look at what this weekly candle looks like. Now this is a better looking spinning top, and we see a spinning top formation that normally indicates indecision. The bulls or the bears, they could not take control, okay? So where we go next week is pretty much a toss-up. Now let's go ahead and move down to the 1 hour chart and look at this week's levels. First off, the bullish scenario. Now we're sitting around $358. In order for me to consider this bullish, the SPY has to get above $360. If it does, the first level that I'm looking for at the test is around $365. If it can get through that, all the way up to around $375, okay? Now the bearish scenario, if it cannot get above $360, the first level that I'm looking for at the test is around $355. If it can't hold that, all the way down to around $350. If it can't hold that, all the way down to around $340, okay? So keep these levels on your watch list and let's see what happens. Alright, and I also want to look at the Russell 2000 ETF. This one tracks the small cap stocks, and the ticker symbol is IWM. Now here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart. Now if I zoom in right here, expand this a little bit, you can see over the past week we created a huge spinning top candle. All right, the range was between $162 and $174. Now after looking at these three charts, 2 of the 3 created spinning top candles. Now that tells me that there's no clear indication on which way the market will go. So I'll just have to prepare for both directions like we always do. Now if I was playing small cap stocks, I would set an alert at 172 to the upside and a break of 162 to the downside, okay? So keep these levels on your watch list and let's see what happens. All right, so the first stock we're going to look at is Apple, ticker symbol AAPL, and here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart. Now this past week, Apple got as low as $133, but it rallied all the way back up to almost $145. So the levels that I have from last week still apply this week. Now, first off, the bullish scenario. Right now we're sitting around $138. In order for it to be bullish, I'm looking for Apple to get above $140. If it can, the first level that I'm looking for it to test is around $144.50. If it can get through that, up to $147.50. If it can get through that, up to around $151.50. Okay. Now, if it cannot get above $140 to the downside, the bear scenario, I'm looking for it to test around $136.50. If it can't hold that, all the way down to around $132. Okay, so keep these levels on your watch list and let's see what happens. All right, up next is Nvidia, ticker symbol NVDA, and here I have it pulled up on the 1 hour chart. Now, one of my favorite plays of last week was on Thursday when Nvidia got as low as $108. But like the rest of the market, it rallied and ran up and opened on Friday morning close to $121. And then it ended up giving a lot of it back and closing around $112. There was a lot of opportunities here, and hopefully some of you took advantage of that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and look at this week's levels. But before we look at them, remember that ASML reports earnings pre-market on Wednesday, so that could affect Nvidia's price action. So I'll be cautious holding any swings going into Wednesday. All right. Now, first off, the bullish scenario. Like I said, we're sitting around $112. It would have to get above $113. If it does, the first level that I'm looking for it to test is around $118. If it can get through that, up to $121. Okay, and if it can get through that, all the way up to around $128. Now, the bear scenario, if Nvidia cannot get above $113, I'm looking for it to drop and test around $108. If it can't hold that, all the way down to the psychological $100 level. Okay, so keep these levels on your watch list and let's see what happens. All right, up next is Netflix, ticker symbol NFLX, and here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart. Now, looking at this, over the past 6 months, beginning back in April, Netflix has gone from $350 all the way down to $160. But over the past 3 months, it has held above $200. Now, the reason I like playing this stock on their earnings is because of the range that it has. It could move $40, $50, or even $100 in either direction. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the levels. Now, Netflix reports after the market closes on Tuesday. So first off, the bullish scenario. Right now we're sitting at $230. It has to get above $232. If it does, the first level that I'm looking for it to test is around $250. If it can get above this, it'll get within this gap right here that was created with their April earnings. And there's no telling how far it could run up in this gap, all the way up to around $350 if the market is bullish. Okay, now if Netflix reports bad earnings and it cannot get above $232, the first level that I'm looking for it to test is around $209. If it can't hold that, the next level is going to be $200. If it can't hold that, around $188. If it can't hold that, all the way down to around $160. Okay, so keep these levels on your watch list and let's see what happens. Okay, so the last one we're going to look at is Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA, and here I have it pulled up on the weekly chart. Now, I came across this article on Yahoo that stated that Elon may need to sell more shares of the company in order to close the Twitter deal, but he won't be able to sell those shares prior to the earnings report, the Q3 earning report on October 19th, and the Twitter purchase date could be on October 28th. So between the 19th and the 28th, Elon may attempt to boost Tesla's share price to raise more of the $33.5 billion in equity he has committed to provide. So that could make the next 2 weeks kind of interesting. And I'll go ahead and leave a link to this article in the description. All right. Now, Tesla reports earnings after the market closes on Wednesday. So first up, the bullish scenario. Okay. Now right now we're sitting around $205. If Tesla reports good earnings and it can hold $208, I should say $207, the first level that I'm looking for at the test is all the way up to 240. If it can get through that, all the way up to around $256, okay? Now, if Tesla reports bad earnings or the market is selling off and it cannot hold $200, the first level that I'm looking for at the test is all the way down to around $181, okay? So keep these levels on your watch list and let's see what happens. And that is the end of the video. If you found value, please smash that like button and consider subscribing. Here's wishing you a prosperous week of trading, and until next week, talk to you later.